More exclusive information on the scam of the century. We'll show you how it's done from the other side, and you may be surprised how easy it really is.
History's swindlers are a rogues gallery of movers, shakers, and small-time operators running an assortment of scams. None more devastating than the one known as the Ponzi scheme. Here's Melissa Lee with the story of a crime and the man who gave it a name.
This is the man behind the scam, Charles Ponzi, an Italian immigrant who arrived in Boston in 1903 with exactly $2.50 and a determination to succeed at all costs.
He had tremendous charisma. He was a guy, if you were starting a parade, you would put him in the front. He would be, and people would follow him. He had a certain charm, a certain je ne sais quoi, and as a result, people wanted to believe him. I think Bernie Madoff, clearly, it looks as though he was that same kind of guy.
Mitchell Zukoff is a journalism professor at Boston University and the author of the book Ponzi's Scheme, the true story of a financial legend.
A Ponzi scheme is one of the most simple financial frauds known to man, at least by design. You take money from one group of investors and you pay it to another group of investors. You may claim you're investing it in all kinds of exotic financial formulas, but you're really just moving it from one pocket to another.
And that's exactly what Ponzi did when he began peddling a kind of postage stamp that could be used in any country.
He imagined a way to turn it into basically millions, these penny stamps into millions of dollars by using foreign exchange rates. People started pouring money in because he promised them if whatever amount of money they gave him, he would double their money within 90 days. And when he gave them their money back with the doubling, they said, let's take another spin of the wheel. And the snowball started rolling downhill.
Ponzi wound up in prison, but his fraud lived on with countless swindlers, like Bernard Kornfeld, charged in 1973 with selling investors stock in his crumbling $2.5 billion financial empire, and Reed Slatkin, the co-founder of Earthlink, sentenced to 14 years in prison for bilking investors out of more than $500 million.
My intention, of course, was to keep it going so I could make enough money to pay everybody back.
Hi, Hakan. And then there was the young man we met in 2007. Just 22 years old, Hakan Yalanjak was a convicted felon, a former NYU undergrad who engineered a hedge fund Ponzi scheme so elaborate that even the biggest Wall Street banks believed him, along with several savvy investors who bought into the lies to the tune of $7 million. Yalanjak is currently serving time in a federal facility in Alabama. He told us before reporting to prison that he was sorry.
I can't ever go back and undo what I did, but in terms of, apologizing, I owe them many apologies. I owe them more than an apology. I owe them money.
Only 19 at the time, Hakan passed himself off as a trading whiz kid and boasted that his family had a fortune of $800 million and a lineage that could be traced back to Turkish royalty. In reality, the Yalanjaks were anything but royal or rich. They were Turkish immigrants who came to the U.S. when Hakan was 8. By the time he was 12, his mother was a convicted felon, serving 2 years for impersonating a doctor. It was a turning point, Hakan wrote in an essay to the court, that forced him to become head of the family, caring for a father who spoke little English and a younger sister. It was then, when he was barely a teenager, that Hakan learned his first scam, credit card fraud. His teacher was another Turkish immigrant, a shopkeeper, who Hakan said took him under his wing. It was a skill he quickly put to use to support his family. Did your family know about it?
They pretty well knew. It's just they didn't take any action or step to say stop.
They had blinders on.
Correct. They said some things we just don't want to know.
Hakan would hear that refrain again and again as he left home to attend NYU and partnered with a banker twice his age. Together they hatched a plan to start a hedge fund called Daedalus Capital. Nothing more than a Ponzi scheme right from the start. How did you justify it to yourself?
The whole thing was quite Machiavellian. I mean, the ends justify the means. We had hopes that this company would be wildly successful, so if we did in fact make millions of dollars, there would of course be no problem paying or rectifying our mistakes.
But mistakes multiplied along with the deceit as Hakan and his partner began to solicit investors. The marketing materials were all plagiarized from another fund, and the target of the pitch? Savvy investors who made their fortunes working at hedge funds.
Greed is good was the motto. And all of these people believed in it. All of these people managed hundreds of millions of dollars. And by virtue of giving them a pitch that they can actually even make more, that they can make 20, 30% returns, or 40%, 50%, whatever the number was, they all trusted, hey, if this kid falls flat on his face, everyone's telling us he's rich.
Do you admit that everything that you told these investors were basically a pack of lies?
Yeah. We misrepresented the existence of the fund. We misrepresented the existence of a lot of things. We needed to raise more money to basically clean out the problems.
That meant bringing in even more investors. To do that, Hakan concocted a plan to burnish the reputation of his family and his fund with a lavish gift, a $21 million donation to NYU. A plaque with the Yellenjock name was placed on a campus building. In reality, though, most of the NYU money belonged to investors, and he never intended to donate the rest. Did you think at that point, maybe this is not right?